I know, but I'm a really bad reader. If my favorite character dies like that, I won't read the book for months. So if you don't see part 4 or part 3 of this podcast with me in it, it's because I'm no longer reading the book. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our inreallore podcast book club. Today we're going over Lightbringer, specifically part 2. I'm here with Nick, and I'm gonna let him intro how we are gonna do this.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over a little bit of our gut reactions of this part, go a bit over the individual characters, how we're feeling about their directions, talk about a little bit about where we think the plot is going, as well talk a little bit about the themes that seem to be going on with the book overall. So let's get into it. Sonam, what are your gut reactions for this part?
That's a lot better than part 1. There was a lot more that happened, right?
Yeah.
I think with part 1, you asked me, I'm like, meh. But with like part 2, a lot longer. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I really wanted to see more of Lyria, but that's coming up part 3. I kind of cheated and looked at chapter titles. Yeah. But she was introduced, right? And that was pretty cool because I feel like she's going to, like, the fate of the war is going to be in her and Quicksilver's hands. Like, that's where it's leading it up to, right? Yeah. But there's a lot of, like, it was really interesting that you saw an entire battle, like the battle of Mars and Phobos, essentially from 3 perspectives, or 2 really, Virginia and Lysander. Once again, super hard because of the voice actors, and I miss Virginia's actor so much. But it was interesting because Virginia came out into her own. We'll talk about it, but she became a true gold. Like, she always had that ability to kind of care for our lives and protect. Here, she expended them. She knew how to expend them, and she knew it was the duty of a sovereign to do that.
Yes.
It was very interesting seeing that.
And it's also because she's always played the political game. She's never been a warlord. She's never been one that's on the front lines typically.
She's like, what would Darrow do?
She was. She kept thinking that all the way through. Like, what would Darrow do in this situation?
She sent people out to their deaths and she commanded it. It was cool.
It was. I think she had a harder time with it too because, like you said, what would Darrow do? But then she was able to kind of channel it a little bit by getting to know the one person that she needed to give the command to die. The Oranges, remember? Yeah. That had to go out and fix the shields. She talked to them personally. What's your name? Your name will not be forgotten. Yeah, yeah. So it was a big moment for her and very important. Any other of your reactions for it?
I think I gave you most of them right now. Yeah. I mean, a lot happened, and I think we are traveling out to the rim, so I'm quite interested to see what's happening. Yeah. Because there's so many antagonists. There's so many people at play. It's almost like this, a bit of it, like, I feel like maybe the story is getting a bit too big, but I think this is the biggest it's going to be. And then that's it, right? Because you have all these people at play.
You do. You have so many interplaying houses, so many interplaying factions, not just good guys and bad guys.
I am actually getting lost in it, to be honest.
You have the Irons and the Reformers and the Rim. Yep. For the just society on its own, and then you have all the internal factions for the Republic with Virginia and everything. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'm with you. It's better than the first part, and I wanted to kind of address something that someone commented on something else, is that there was a lot of Deus Ex Machina in the first part and actually in the beginning of this part as well, which I didn't. Once I actually read that comment, I'm like, oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, a lot of things just happened because they happened.
A lot of things happened and it got people out of situations. And it happened with Lyria when her ship was attacked, which I'm just going to call this out. I am so upset that the snowball is destroyed. The snowball. Ephraim's ship.
I didn't know she had it, to be honest.
Yeah, that was Ephraim's ship that he gave to her to do what she needed to do with and gave to Volga. And it's destroyed in the first Lyria chapter.
Much like his heart.
And I know.
So what were your first thoughts, by the way? We're getting off topic here. You asked me about my first thoughts, but what were your first?
So that's my first thought was that snowball being destroyed, very upsetting. I think Lyria, there's some things going on with her. I'm interested to see what actually does happen. Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed the Phobos scenes quite a bit because it was interesting to see how Lysander was just trying to go for the goal, go for one day, and being stuck in and truly understanding the horrors of what the people like Reds can do in a guerrilla attrition war.
Yeah, it was guerrilla warfare.
It was.
It's really cool.
Attrition warfare is horrifying.
I was so upset that I thought Kavix died.
I know.
Oh my God, I almost put in the book again because I thought Virginia died. Because there was a title, and you'll get there. And if you read that title, A Good Death, and it started with Virginia, I'm like, nope, screw this. I put it down, and once again, Nick had to tell me that she did not die.
Well, she had another POV chapter.
I know, but I'm a really bad reader. If my favorite character dies like that, I won't read the book for months. So if you don't see part 4 or part 3 of this podcast with me in it, it's because I'm no longer reading the book because Virginia died.
I'm going to have to just push her through and be like, no, just come on, just get through it. No, it's okay.
I don't think they're going to kill her this book.
No.
She's too pivotal for it.
Yeah.
But if they do kill her, I'm gone.
Yeah. I also did really enjoy the parts with Apollonius coming in now because he is going to get Phobos, but he's also licking his wounds because, again, no one in the gold camp wants him around.
Yeah.
No one in the society wants him, and he's just there.
Lysander.
Except for Lysander.
Yeah.
But even Lysander sees him as a tool instead of what he sees himself as.
Yeah, like he is really somebody's play, right? It's a play. It's not a...
yeah.
He's not seen as a person, but a tool.
And he's terrifying that they needed to bring in... in that one chapter, A Good Death, they needed to bring in the Obsidians that were captured.
I know. That was cool, though. Watching them cause fear. Remember when she said that Darrow and I sat at a table and he told me how they kill. And they kill by messing with a man's mind. Not like the actual physical sense of it. So
they have the ghosts, or I forget what they called them exactly, but they basically lie in waiting near the front, so that way they hear the war chanting and slowly break their mind until the ghouls come out. And,
because then you just think you're dead, right? And then you are dead. Yeah.
But it was also interesting because we never really saw the Unshorn from any other perspective other than with Ephraim in the last book. Now we see it from Virginia's perspective, and Virginia is actually terrified of him.
Of who?
Unshorn.
Unshorn.
What's his name? The Obsidian leader.
Volsung?
No, not Volsung. The one that she freed.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I forget his name, but keep going with your...
Yeah, so we see him from Ephraim's perspective, and Pax talking to him, and he's kind of terrifying. Like, he just showed up and took a shit in front of Ephraim in the middle of Dark Age, but you weren't finding him terrifying. In this, Virginia just like looks at him and is like deeply afraid of him.
Yeah.
Which you don't see from any other perspective.
He's got a man crush on Darrow. That's why she was safe.
That's true. Yeah, that was the only reason. Darrow would be upset if I killed you, so I will give them a good death.
Yeah.
But overall...
They had good deaths.
They had good deaths. But overall, I found the Battle of Phobos, it bruised the ego of Lysander despite getting some glory.
But it bruised the ego of Virginia, too. Both of them... neither won or lost. Do you know what I mean? Or they both lost something but gained something else. I mean, no, Lysander gained. She lost because this is Mars, right?
Yeah.
But I guess Phobos, the dockyards, those are Julia's, right? Like those were Victra's?
Those were Victra's.
I didn't know Victra. I forgot Victra was a powerhouse in the dockyards.
Oh, yeah. No,
they were the biggest, like...
Julii. The Julii dockyards and the Julii Industries was always a huge portion of it. Like, she's one of the largest industrialists in the Republic, and her family was that before the Rising in general. So, her losing that's Victra's fault, but she got to kill Ajax, so yay.
Behead him and then give it back to Lysander.
I know. It's great.
But I think the way that it ended was interesting. I wonder who poisoned Lysander.
It was the pink that came down.
No, but who really ordered that?
Oh, it was 100% Atalantia.
Really? You don't think it was Cassius's mother?
She doesn't seem like she'd be the type to do poisoning. I've never gotten any indication from her, whereas...
What does one need to be a type to do poisoning?
Atlantia, in general.
No, I'm serious.
Well, so Cassius's mother, you could see it a little bit in who Cassius is himself. Like, she is still honor bound. She's still plays the typical politics game. She's not going to play the underhanded cards. She was the one that went to the Republic and went to the Senate directly and was giving them the offers. Even though it might have been underhanded, it wasn't I'm coming in here and boom, plague flies.
Yeah.
So it was 100% at Atalantia, which is that thing. It's the fracturing of society, which Lysander was trying to get after pretty handily with his game at the summit of the 200, which I found really cool. That kind of structuring of the golds overall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's quite interesting, right?
Yeah.
Let's go into what's our next step.
Characters.
Characters. Ooh, okay. Why don't you start?
All right, so let's start off with Lyria in first, because she was the first two chapters.
I have some thoughts.
Go.
Okay, because we're spoiling this anyway. So she finds Oculus, right? The planet Oculus, and she meets Matteo, right? And we learn that this thing in her head, Figment, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So Figment in her head is this this complex neural implant that allows you to control a drone army from anywhere.
The psyche.
It is super cool. Yeah, the psyche. But what we realize is the person who made it realized that they opened up Pandora's box, closed it up, and I think discarded of these prototypes, and they somehow had one, right? So Figment got
10
one.
of them.
Yeah, okay. So, and then she also had a bit of a black box encoded in the back end that if you were to take one of these, you would lose the sense of who you are. Like you'd use your emotional background, your story. You may forget things.
So
right?
that was the surgery that was necessary to do it. That's why she was going to lose her memories.
Oh, the surgery.
The surgery was going to potentially lose her memories and sense of self.
Okay, so what I found really interesting is that I think this was a test. I think Matteo asked her, "Are you willing to give up your sense of self to have uttermost control and to be a god?" That's what essentially he asked her, right?
Yeah.
And she wanted to help the rising. And she said, "No, it is not worth it. I'd rather be who I am and remember who I lost."
Yeah.
Instead of becoming a god. And I think it was a test. I think she is going to go under the knife and she's going to retain everything. Because it was a test of honor. It was a test of would she use like her power for bad? How bad and power hungry was she? And she wasn't. Right?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think that's what's happening was that she will still have the full control of it.
I think so.
And she'll still have her memories. It was just a matter of...
I think it was a test.
It was the Pink's game.
Yeah.
Which is the chapter of the title. So I agree with you.
Interesting.
I think that's what he was up to.
Yeah.
I think she'll still have the power.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is you have that description of what it can do, and then you actually have Virginia attempting to do it just on her own. Remember, she was synced in.
Oh, yeah, that was super cool.
And she was trying to control the battle, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
So you get a glimpse of the limitations of what a normal human has, even a gold.
Yeah.
And you have this thing, the psyche, can fix that.
So
the limitations.
Do we think she's going to get her own armada by the end of the book?
I think so.
She's going to have a fucking armada to herself and she's gonna come in and wreck shit up. Okay.
I think so. I think
I'm so excited. This is my favorite part.
Yes. I think Lyria, that's where her story is going.
I kind of like scrolled at chapter titles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Lyria and I'm like, yes.
I know.
And there's a lot of like drone Lyria. I'm like, yes. You know? So I think she's going to play a huge part in the war. And she's going to be a one-woman shop. It's going to be insane.
I think so. I'm going to be interested because she is going to meet up with Cassius, Severo, and Darrow.
Oh, yeah, because they're going to that planet to find Regulus. I didn't know Quicksilver's name was Regulus.
Regulus, Ag...
Ow. No, Egg, because of AG, yeah.
Son?
Egg son. For those of you who didn't realize it, but when they say, Egg and Ow, those are the periodic table.
For gold, silver, copper, for... Sue is copper.
Yeah. Gray doesn't have one.
No, Gray has one.
What is it?
Holiday T Nakamura. T, titanium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Greens are SI, which is silicon, which makes sense because they're that. They're computers. Blues are, they're a noble gas. I forget which one it is. Xeon.
Yeah.
The only ones that don't technically have it are reds. Reds are just lacalose, which could be oxygen because oxygen rusts metal. Okay. Making it red, but you don't get much. But yes, it is all periodic table. It's fun. I love that little detail. So you have Regulus is eventually going to come back in, potentially, depending on if Darrow can actually convince him to come back.
100% he's coming. Only Darrow can convince him.
Now, Virginia...
You think she's going to convince Quicksilver?
No, Virginia. What do you think of her character, her arc this this part.
She became a warlord. And it was really interesting because I only ever saw her as the political player and the honorable player. But she flat out gave a command to kill people. And she said, I knew which units to expend.
Multiple times. It wasn't just once or twice.
Yeah. And Kavix is like, what did he say? Quote him.
Kavix's quote was, if you're not willing to become a monster, then you will die and get out of the way. Or something along those lines.
And then he also did say, and make sure your family knows it when they're on their deathbed or something like that. It was it's like, you have to become a monster to save the people you love.
Yeah, you have to become a monster to fight monsters. And
then Sophocles, when he saw Kavix go away. Okay, Virginia. So it was really interesting seeing her. She actually, I think she started to respect the role of sovereign.
Yeah.
Because she's not Virginia when she was fighting. She was the sovereign. She was going to expend everything and everyone. The only people she saved was her lion guard.
Yeah.
Remember?
Even
she got the obsidian to do it.
Even in the nucleus herself, she almost expended her own life to save the people. It wasn't like she was just expending lives on a whim. It was literally she made
calculated,
very calculated
decisions. But then during the parlay, it was calculated decisions in warfare.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't out of but we'll get to Lysander as well because he did the exact same. And then he started shitting his pants when he realized he was going down into a claw drill. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But it was a different side of her. And then the other thing, she ended it off saying, Darrow, go away. Go away.
Go away. That's hard.
Okay, thanks, bye. and I was surprised, though, Severo wasn't as upset at that. But, we haven't really heard much from him. I feel like he's a ticking time bomb.
There's
something.
Oh, no, there's several things. And it's one of those moments where
Mustang... Have you been on the Reddit thread or something like that? Okay.
Mustang, why didn't you say something to Darrow? Why didn't you say something? 2 seconds to say Severo, they might have been psychospiked, Anyway, beside the point. Virginia, at the end she did have to tell him to go away, hold out where she could, because Atlantia is still on her way. She would have lost the war if it wasn't for Atlantia screwing with the plans that Lysander had.
Yeah, because they were going to launch an Iron Rain.
The next day.
I know, it was insane.
But again, I
love how in this book, an Iron Rain, people floating out of the sky or shooting down little stars in little
it's so metal.
In little metal spheres, and then they get
the star shells.
Fight, pew 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 pew.
It is metal.
Yeah.
Which is why
I'm really interested to see how the adaptation is going to play this.
I know. I'm so excited for if we get a TV adaptation and we get to Dark Age. Yeah. I cannot wait to see an Iron Rain with nukes going off across the planet.
Yeah.
With giant mechs, tanks being blown up. It's metal. Yeah. So metal.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Put it back. Come on.
It's coming back. Lysander.
You tell me.
So, Lysander, I really found it interesting that he went to Earth and won. It's funny how we've never been on Earth before.
I know. And then they talk about the plains of Africa and hunting the kill, and the fact that the estate on the Rockies, Atlantia has a place on the Rockies. I'm like, yeah. Canadian life.
But it's interesting that it took this long for us to be on Earth.
Earth is not important.
And it was just not important.
No, it's not.
They had a summit.
They expended Earth. Earth was nothing.
Yeah, they had a summit in the Colosseum in Rome.
How did that make you feel, knowing that you just saw that last month?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah?
It was pretty cool. Because you can kind of see, you get a vibe of what they were going for with the way they set it up. But his address to the 200 and him and Atalante are at each other's throats. And I think that's his weakness, is that he thinks he can control things more than he can.
Yeah.
He thinks he can play a game, but he's playing a game against, snakes.
Yeah.
And
I don't like him still.
I think
he's a crybaby who thinks he is. I really like Diomedes. I feel like he's honorable. I feel like Lysander is I want mine. Mommy, she hurt me.
And the thing is you have his perspective all the time where he's like, I'm doing the noble thing and I must rule from the beginning. And then you have everyone else's perspective and it's like, oh, he brought quadrilles. He's just aping Darrow. He's copying what's been done before, and he's doing it worse. He keeps thinking he's so much better at things than everyone else. And
Interesting.
You go, someone else's thoughts, and they're like, my God, he's just a child. He's not that useful. And even Cassius at one point is just, what did he say? He said something along the lines of, he's going to, he believes that he's doing what is right. Do not believe him.
Yep.
Because he said that to Mustang.
Yep.
Because Cassius ended up apologizing to Virginia for Lysander's, how he turned out.
And then getting promoted to Morning Knight.
He got promoted to Morning Knight,
again.
But you have that factional infighting again. And I think we talked about this at one point, is that the problem that comes with Golds is that they're a race of people that are all told they are gods and they all deserve to rule.
But there can only be one god.
Yes. There can only be one controller. There can only be one space.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just going to be constant warfare, constant violence. And I think that's going to be something that comes up probably by the end of the series, is that Gold has to completely fall for anything to go forward positively.
Yeah, because any other color knows how to work in unity.
Yeah.
Because they were not built and bred as being gods.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't sent to the Institute. It wasn't the strongest man came out with the best post, the best job, the best prospects. Like, I don't know. It's just, you're right. I think Gold has to die. Well, not like proverbially. I think it just needs to fall. But the problem is they are so genetically strong.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, Nick.
It's not going to happen. There's something that's going to have to break with them, though, and because they're fracturing from the inside.
They are. They're starting to actually, like, that's what Darrow set out to do, right?
Yeah.
He set out to cause cracks on the inside of Gold and rupture it open. Oh, one thing I don't know if we talked about. Did we only see Pax in part 2? Pax is at a center for blues.
Yep.
So he has decided to, as a Gold, become a pilot.
Yeah.
Right? It was really interesting. So now you're seeing, like, I'm going to call it like races, right? Because colors are races, essentially, metaphorically. You're seeing kind of like this inbreeding now. Like, he wants to be a pilot, a commander. He doesn't want to be a fighter. And it's weird. Like, it's interesting because I think that center for blues was meant for blues, but now because of the Republic, it's a reform, the reform.
Oh, it was always meant for any color that wanted to go in. Yeah.
Oh,
because it was Orion that actually founded it.
So he would become an Imperator, essentially, from this.
Yeah, he would become what Orion was, commander of ships, essentially, and commander of armadas.
He doesn't want to be the person above the commander of ship.
Yeah, which
is the Gold.
Which is the Gold, but he wants to be the one in command of the ships, which the Republic is basically taking that away from just being a Gold identity down to whoever has the merit to do so from these.
I mean, Orion did have her own ship. He gave it to her.
Yeah.
But, like, he doesn't want to become Darrow, like, the leader of leaders?
It's because, well, he is going to eventually become that anyway. And Virginia even calls this out, is that he's going to be a weapon.
Yeah.
She felt bad and even told him, like, I wish I hadn't gave birth to you when I did.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it because I have you now.
Yeah.
But now your life is struggle. That is all you have.
Didn't he say it? He said, my life is struggle.
Yes, because Darrow's life was, they each had like their own thing, but her inheritance was guilt from the Gold Guild. Darrow's inheritance was pain and suffering from being enslaved. His was struggle. But she still has that regret that he is only going to be a weapon. But he is still choosing what kind of weapon he wants to be.
You think we're going to see more of him in the books? Because right now he's at this academy where they're not allowed to be seen for like 6 more years until they graduate.
It might be a while. I think he might come out of it in the next book.
I think so. I think he's going to be pivotal. He's 16 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time because like the first 3 books took place over, I think,
10 years?
6 years.
Okay, fair enough.
And then it's a 10-year gap, and it's been about 4 years so far in the last 3 books.
Yeah.
So maybe we might see him again. It depends on how travel time, right? Because they're all going to the rim now.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Think about a galaxy, eh?
Yeah.
It's cool. Like the author's done a great job of taking something so narrow-minded, and I loved book 1, And then just when I thought I couldn't get any better, blowing it up into, well, you thought Mars was cool. You thought the Institute was cool. We have Mars. We have planets. We have moons. You thought that was cool. We have multiple moons, multiple planets, the asteroid belt, and multiple families. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
No, this is the main reason why I love this series. Back to Lysander, because we have the address to the 200. He convinces everyone that there should be unity, which brings the rim into place. But that's what causes, and that's why Atalantia poisons him. At the end with the Medusa's lament.
Yeah. But she poisoned him after the battle, right?
She did, because she now has a foothold on Mars. And now she can come in and gain the rest of the glory and go from there. Because he was... The other thing you were saying that it could have been Bologna's, Julia Bologna.
Yeah, Bologna.
You thought she was the one poisoning him, but
I was just wondering,
She was there entreating him for her to take over the planet.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's her. It's just Atlantia that's causing shenanigans because she doesn't want him to take the Morning Throne. And with his recent victory, it even came out that they can now depose of her and kill her. So there is a power play going. There's, again, fractures of these. Who's on top?
So let's talk about what in the world this Medusa's lament is. Is it something that just says, it seems like they put him in a coma to let it run its course, because if you're not, he's in so much pain that he can go into agony, right?
Yeah.
But what is it?
Just that. It's just a poison.
Oh. Well, yeah, normally poisons kill.
Yeah, I think they just are, they can't remove it. I don't know exactly what it is. It's just...
So put him in a coma to let him run its course? I'm sorry, Nick. I know.
I know. I honestly don't know too much about it. I can't quite tell. We don't have much thought behind it. So it's a dangerous
I feel like it was
poison.
just put in there because it was what's that called? Ex Machina?
No.
What's it called when they just do it because they just do it?
The plot.
Huh?
Do it because the plot dictates.
Yeah. What's it called? There's a synonym for it.
Well, it's a plot device. If it's just out of nowhere, it's a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
but that's
it's a
not.
Deus Ex Machina.
It's not though,
no,
because
I'm gonna say it is.
No,
because, nope.
Sonam.
Nope.
It's not.
I disagree.
It's not.
I'm very upset that this poison doesn't get explained more.
It probably will.
I don't know, man. I'm really pissed off right now. The doctor in me's coming out.
Okay. All right. So, where do you think the plot is going now?
Oh, easy. Going to the rim. Lyria is going to get command of drones, destroy the Ascamani. Darrow's going to come and find Quicksilver. Dido and Diomedes and Lysander are going to meet these guys in the rim. There's going to be a little space battle there. And then they're going to head back for Book 7 to Mars.
You think it's all they're not going to make it back to Mars?
I don't know.
Book.
I don't know. Because then what's Book 7? This was supposed to be the last book of the series, but Pierce Brown thought it would be cool to split it in part 2. Maybe Book 7 will be split into Book 7 and 8. I don't know.
I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think it's going to start that way because, like, we mentioned this earlier, the Deus Ex Machina stuff that happened in the first one where things just happened. I think that came from his rewrites, where that's where he had everything started. He liked where he had started it, but he said, this is the point where I'm just going to cut it off. We're going to split it. Severo's back. Snowball's destroyed. Yada, yada, yada. We're just going. So that way he could get into the plot. So
really?
That's where I think he started his rewrites, was right off at the beginning of part 1 for each one. So I don't think there will be a rewrite for book 8 or book 7. Yeah. I don't think there will be a book 8 unless, of course, it's like way further on later on. I think he's got it settled and he's happy with the story that he has now and he'll go forward.
Okay.
But I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to get back to Mars.
I don't think so either. I think this book will wrap up around the rim.
Yeah. Because it does have to kind of tie up some stuff with the rim overall. Where does the rim sit?
Because what are the daughters of Ares? That they're going to come with them to finally conquer Mars. Like, let's be honest, they are the missing link.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm wary on Cassius, though. I think Cassius is dying this book.
Potentially. He's been at that point where I thought he was going to die for a while.
Yeah.
He's been trying to die honorable deaths, right? But I think you're right. He's expendable this book.
Well, the other thing, too, is there's a trope called a death flag. Basically, it is like, it's like when a couple says like they like give their like last I love yous. It's like I'll see you when the battle is over. That person's dead. That person's not surviving because you purposely are pulling the starters.
Yeah.
I think Cassius being given Morning Knight of the Republic is his death flag because he's regained his honor. He regained where he wanted to be at. Because he wanted to do well by the Republic and the people that he was the tyrant of. Remember, he was talking about that with Darrow. So I don't think he's going to live. And I think Severo might be the one to kill him. I think the Manchurian candidate is going to be activated and Severo is going to be the one to kill Cassius.
The Manchurian candidate?
So Severo is the one that's like mind wiped.
Yeah.
Because nothing was said about it, part 1.
Nope.
Nothing was thought about it.
Nope. Yeah.
Wasn't acknowledged.
Yeah.
But Mustang, when they say, when Severo says, Adrius sends his regards, and Mustang's just like in a full panic mode.
Yep.
But says nothing. She says nothing. Don't be worried about it.
I mean, like, I would tell Darrow to sleep with his eye open and tie Severo down at night.
Yeah, because like...
Also maybe throw him out the vacuum.
Sends my regards. See, he might also be triggered to kill Mustang.
Yeah.
He might be triggered to kill his family.
He's a Trojan horse, Nick.
He's 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm deeply worried about that. I agree with you. Lyria is going to end up getting the god powers, essentially.
Oh, God, yeah. You have to give her god powers at this point.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what she will do with power.
It will be interesting.
Because she was always the person that had shit thrown in her face. And now she's going to be able to throw it in other people's face.
Yes.
At a scale that she has never thought possible.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, since Lysander, everyone is heading to the Rim now. Yep. So... Well,
Atlantia is like I think we're going to be leaving her for a bit.
We are definitely leaving Atlantia.
She's too busy on Luna.
She's at Loon.
With the Abomination.
Which... I don't get what's going on there because the Vox Populi is in control of the moon and the Vox Populi is controlled by the Abomination.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on either, to be honest.
Yeah, why isn't the Abomination yielding to the golds, to society, joining back up with society?
I don't know. The Abomination is the Abomination.
He's a wild card, and I think he is going to come up with... I think that's probably what's going to break by the end of the book is that the Abomination's going to come out and probably break the inner society. I think he might break Atalantia. I think Atalantia is going to get a bad death. She's not going to get a good death from Lysander. So. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's where we're sitting at. Yeah. Themes, though. Themes.
Well, this is your wheelhouse. So
it is.
This is what your, many years of linguistics training gave you. I can save you if you go dead here. I can't give you themes for life.
So there are the two themes that I still think are prominent throughout this book.
I did have to suture someone this weekend who gashed his head open in my house.
Yes. No guilt. Two themes. Treading the path. So being able to walk the path and follow going with the winds that the world is going with. And I think that's what's happening with Darrow. Mustang followed her path. She followed her own instincts and her own nature because she was letting herself become more like her father in the battle. Yeah. To be that. So
but she started respecting him a bit. It was really interesting.
It was.
She's like, "Oh my God, these are the decisions you have to make when you're there to make them." Yeah. Very interesting.
So it's following your own nature because she's always had that in her nature and she's always fought it. She was fighting it very hard in Dark Age, which is what led to the Day of Red Doves, right? Yep. Because she just wanted to be like, oh, I could just skin them all alive.
I know, right?
She's like, I could just skin every single one here, but you know what? I will take the better road.
I will be a politician.
I'll be better than my father.
Woman.
So I think that is now she's following the path and she's on the right way, the direction. Lysander is still fighting against his own path, I think.
What do you think is his path?
Death.
Well, no, I don't know, man. I feel like Lysander and Darrow are going to be the last two to die, right? One of them will die. Yeah. Both may die. Yeah. I don't think Darrow's going to make it out of the series alive. No. I think his story ends with a good death.
Yeah.
Finally, because he's been suffering, right?
finally seeing the end.
I think Pax will live, and he will be the new age.
Yeah, I think that's it too. And the other thing that is making your way home, which is it's kind of on the same way of charting your own path. He can't make it back. Everything is blowing him away from Mars.
I know, it's really annoying. Do you think he's going to get to even see his child and his wife before he dies?
I think he will. I think he deserves that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep an eye on for any other themes to talk about for part 3. Because part 3 is now, it's mostly just Ilium. It is around the rim, around the Ilium moons.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm
really excited.
I want Volga to come back. Too.
Yeah, well, she's going to be. She's on Foz ship, right? So you're going to see her. But yeah, one thing that's interesting about our book clubs is Nick and I don't actually talk about the parts until we sit down. So this is like completely raw, unedited footage of just us shooting the shit of what we think is going on.
So we'll see how it goes.
And also we're forced to do these so that we can move on to part 3.
Yes, neither of us have read past part 3. We have barely even
no spoilers yet in the comments.
The quote.
I know.
No spoilers in the comment. We're just going to keep pushing.
Give us a few days and then you can spoil them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're going through these very quickly.
Yeah, we are. I mean, like, this book is 30 hours, and between the two of us, we've gone through 2 parts, and we probably could have finished the book by now, but we're...
Slowly. We are going to release this weekly, so we don't have to, like...
Are we?
Oh, yeah, I'll release this weekly. Oh, it'll be better.
But this is done now.
It is done, but we'll release weekly nonetheless.
This is Nick's fault, for all you waiting.
All right. That's all for today. We're going to go on to part 3. We're both very excited. And we will see where the story goes.
Yeah, leave us comments, like and subscribe if you like us. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.